Disney has released incredible films since 2010. This period is called the Revival Era. The Revival Era involves a careful balance. At times, it imitates iconic musicals from the Disney Renaissance. Other times, it takes Disney in new directions. Today, we're ranking the Disney Revival Era and discovering what makes each film work well. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is the Disney Revival Era, worst to best. Before we get into it, thought I should let you guys know that there are spoilers. So, if you haven't seen the Revival Era films, be warned. This video discusses major plot points and reveals how most of these films end. Without further ado, let's do it. And dead last is Ralph Breaks the Internet. Ralph Breaks the Internet has its strengths, but fails to reach Disney's usual standards. The best feature of this film is the slaughter race. Everything that happens in Slaughter Race is integral to Vanellope's character. Vanellope's song, A Place Called Slaughter Race, is exciting and fills the audience with a sense of wonder. Another great slaughter race scene is Vanellope stealing Shank's car. The race between Vanellope and Shank emphasizes Vanellope's abilities as a racer. It explains her increasing dissatisfaction with Sugar Rush by showing how talented Vanellope is when she doesn't hold back. It shows Vanellope becoming transfixed with this world and the audience with her. Vanellope's musical number and race against Shank also support the ending. Vanellope's character progression is from a dissatisfied leader to a girl who makes sacrifices for her dream. Without showing Vanellope in her element, this ending wouldn't work. So these scenes are essential for her character. Another strong feature is the Disney references. References to Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars can be engaging for longtime fans. The Star Wars homage of hiding from stormtroopers is clever. The Disney princesses are humorous. Their conversation with Vanellope highlights what makes her unique among Disney's existing characters. The scene where they use their abilities to save Ralph is fun and does a good job of diversifying the group. There's plenty to love: an engaging setting, Vanellope's characterization, and intertextuality. Unfortunately, Ralph Breaks the Internet has many flaws. It's jam-packed with Disney and internet references. Some work, but for the most part, they fall flat. Jokes about Twitter and Fortnite are below Disney's usual wit. Comparing the humor to other Disney films makes it even more noticeable. Look at Ralph's delivery compared to Flynn Rider or Nick Wilde. It doesn't hold up. Also, the internet references are obvious product placement. They take up a majority of the screen time, and it's jarring, similar to the Emoji Movie. Ralph Breaks the Internet is also derivative. It doesn't do anything original, which is disappointing. Wreck-It Ralph is heartfelt and original, so it's sad to see the sequel become so uninspired. Even worse is the sequel's treatment of its characters. Vanellope has a strong arc, but all the other characters are butchered. Ralph's clinginess is frustrating. He becomes unhealthily obsessed with Vanellope in a way that is out of character for him. In Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph is a mentor to Vanellope, who helps her achieve her dream of being a racer. The mentorship dynamic works because of the age and experience gap. In the sequel, their relationship shifts to a grown man being best friends with a 12-year-old girl. It's uncomfortable and becomes increasingly frustrating as Ralph acts out of line. He endangers the people of Slaughterhouse and Vanellope by releasing a virus. While they mend their relationship, the virus is never caught, and Ralph is never reprimanded for his actions. This is a shame because the message about letting your friends pursue their dreams is strong. It's a compelling conflict when executed properly. Unfortunately, Ralph's clinginess undermines it. Felix and Calhoun also aren't done justice. They're almost completely left out, and none of the new characters have the charm to replace them. Another major issue is the internet. Internet references make the film dated. Some work, particularly Ralph as Bob Ross, but most of them age poorly. Disney has made plenty of timeless tales, including The Little Mermaid. Even though it's set in the past, the messages and characters have complexity outside of that. Ariel lives a life of privilege, but is curious about other walks of life. Her story is relatable, inspiring, and can be told without leaning on a specific setting. If Ariel's story was told in a modern setting with a girl pursuing her love of theater, it would still work. Specifics, like when the story is set and what her dream is, can be changed. On the other hand, Ralph Breaks the Internet is inseparable from its internet theme. Its jokes, character motives, and plot all center around this. So as the references it makes become less relevant, the film doesn't have much else to grab people's attention. Ralph Breaks the Internet is an adequate animated film. It has some strong moments but struggles to excel. Next is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is fun, but doesn't leave any real impact after it's over. The film is charming and has a light-hearted sense of humor. It's mostly based around misunderstandings, like when Pooh mistakes the word issue for a sneeze, or when Al misunderstands Christopher Robin's note. Many of these are funny because it's absurd. The characters getting stuck in a pit when Al can fly is a great example. It's a simple premise that's illogical, which is what makes it funny. Piglet digging an enormous hole while Pooh supervises is funny and sums up both characters. Most Winnie the Pooh installments focus on Pooh, Piglet, and Tigger, so it's great to see this one branch out. Eeyore and Al are heavily featured, more so than Piglet and Tigger. It adds variety to the group and helps stand out from past Pooh films. There's also unique animation styles, like the Backsun chalk scene or Pooh's Daydream. Pooh eats a copy of himself that's made of honey, which is morbid but oddly charming. It's the same logic-defying antics that Winnie the Pooh does well. You can't apply logic or rules to this universe because it's a child's imagination. Winnie the Pooh definitely has its flaws. There's no coherent plot. The focus constantly shifts between Pooh's hunger, Eeyore's missing tail, and hunting the Backsun, which gets convoluted. Winnie the Pooh has always been a children's story, but this version is especially childish. The nonsense humor is good, but it's a shame there isn't a powerful message underneath. Another criticism is the voice acting. This version has a different cast to other Pooh films. Some of the new voice actors work, particularly Al and Eeyore, but Rabbit, Tigger, and Pooh aren't great. The narrator is bad, and his seriousness seems out of place in such an absurd world. Winnie the Pooh also borrows heavily from past Pooh films. In the Tigger movie, other characters dress up as Tiggers because Tigger is sad he's the only one. Then he realizes that being himself is all he needs, and accepts being unique is a blessing. Winnie the Pooh reuses this, but without the emotional impact. It also reuses Piglet going into the woods alone from Piglet's Big Movie, and the gang hunting a predator from the Heffalump movie. Leaning on past Pooh adaptations so much begs the question, why these subplots were included at all? The film is 63 minutes and could easily have been 3 separate short films. One about Pooh's tummy, one about Eeyore's tail, and one about the Backsun. Winnie the Pooh is a fun time, but it's got some issues. In 8th place is Frozen 2. Frozen 2 has some high highs and low lows. The best feature of Frozen 2 is its most marketable character, Elsa. Elsa's arc in Frozen is continued in interesting ways that feel natural. In Frozen, Elsa is motivated by 2 main fears: hurting her loved ones and failure. Both of these are essential to Elsa's character. Fear of hurting her loved ones made her withdraw from society. Fear of failure is what kept her so tense during her coronation. Both culminate during Let It Go, where Elsa isolates herself to avoid her fears being realized. In Frozen 2, Elsa's 2 fears are opposing rather than complementary. Elsa initially ignores the spirit's calls because she doesn't want to risk what she has. As she continues to block out the call to adventure, her fear of failure pressures her to do the right thing. She has to choose which to face, her fear of loss or fear of failure. Frozen 2 builds on both of these fears in new and exciting ways by pitting them against each other. The scene where Elsa tries running on water is similar. Seeing her determination to reach Ahtohallan is engaging and also builds on her fear of failure. It shows that fear of failure can motivate us to change the world, rather than withdraw like in Frozen. Elsa also sings the best musical numbers, Into the Unknown and Show Yourself, even though they aren't as powerful as Let It Go. Frozen 2 has a great soundtrack, albeit not as great as the original. Another strength of Frozen 2 is the setting. Northoldra's forest really enhances the Scandinavian feel, expanding Frozen's vibrant world. Frozen 2 also has its problems. For Elsa's character to be developed, other characters are sidelined. Kristoff is overlooked and barely appears in the second half. Anna doesn't have her usual character complexity because the sequel is told from Elsa's perspective. Olaf is mostly insufferable. He's over the top. He often endangers himself and others. Most of Olaf's screen time is humor with no substance, which clashes with the deeper themes of leadership and sisterhood. The only good Olaf scene is him recapping the first film. Frozen 2 also has story problems. The conflict is vague. There's no villain, and we don't get an understanding of how the spirits work. The ending is fitting, but is too quick to seem resolved. Anna becomes queen. After spending the first film craving human connection, this fulfills her need for companionship. Unfortunately, Frozen 2 doesn't spend enough time on how being queen impacts Anna's character. It also doesn't spend much time on Elsa. Across both films, Elsa isn't the leader she's expected to be, so leaving Arendelle makes sense. But there's no real connection between her and Northuldra, other than her mother's heritage and her ice powers. It would have been better to establish Elsa's ideological connection to Northuldra. Showing us that Northuldra accepts Elsa while Arendelle doesn't would help sell the ending. Frozen 2 is decent, but its side characters, humor, and ending could be improved. In 7th is Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6 is better than Disney's recent sequels, but has its own problems. The biggest strength of Big Hero 6 is the relationship between Hero and Baymax. Hero is exceptionally smart and rebellious. Hero is willing to go outside the law and lie to his family to pursue his goals. Baymax is a healthcare bot, programmed with providing care to those in need.
I will scan you for injuries.
Hero's self-serving vigilantism mixes well with Baymax's selfless caregiving role. Both expand each other's worldview, and they help ground each other morally. Also, Baymax is wholesome and adorable. Another strength is its animation. San Francisco is beautifully animated, and it's a shame we didn't get to see more of the world. The gorgeous cityscape is apparent when Baymax scans the city. The team-up scene is also engaging, and Fallout Boy's Immortals is exciting. Big Hero 6 also offers commentary on how grief can corrupt. Hero's outburst upon discovering the true nature of Tadashi's death is gripping. Hero operates on his own terms, so seeing him turn dark is a solid comment on the dangers of vigilantism. Big Hero 6 has its own problems though. It's a Marvel parody, but not a good one. Other superhero parodies add something unique to the genre. The Incredibles adds family drama. Megamind is from the villain's perspective and shows his transition into a hero. Big Hero 6 doesn't push the boundaries of the superhero genre like these other films do. It's an origin story about becoming a superhero to avenge the death of a loved one. Spider-Man avenging Uncle Ben is an obvious parallel, so the story is simple and predictable. Also, the action isn't abysmal, but the climax and car chase leave something to be desired. The character's movement is less fluid than better superhero films like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Another weak point is its characters. Its side characters are barely characterized. Go-Go, Wasabi, Honey Lemon, and Fred don't have distinctive personalities. They aren't vibrant and unique like other Disney side characters. The Disney Renaissance did side characters well, with Timon and Pumbaa, Sebastian and Genie. Distinctive side characters are a strength, so it's sad to see Big Hero 6 lacking in this department. Speaking of weak characters, the worst character is the villain. Caligan doesn't get much screen time and doesn't do anything interesting. He blames Cray for his daughter's death and seeks revenge. It's a conventional villain motive, and his actions don't reflect his beliefs that well. His desire for revenge is understandable, but he turns into a homicidal maniac. This is so disconnected from the charming professor he is at the beginning. He also shows no remorse for having indirectly killed Tadashi, his most prized student. The turn from benevolent to evil isn't explored, and it's absurd. Big Hero 6 has its strengths, but compares poorly to other superhero films and other Disney films. Next is Frozen. When Frozen came out in 2013, it quickly became the highest-grossing animated film of all time. Frozen is also critically acclaimed. It won 2 Academy Awards, Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song. The Frozen soundtrack is full of modern classics, Let It Go obviously being the best one. It's catchy with well-written lyrics while also being a major character moment for Elsa. The animation in Let It Go is outstanding. Elsa's ice palace is well-textured and the pieces move smoothly when being formed. Its semi-transparent look is a testament to Disney's animation talent. At one point, Elsa's hair moves to her shoulder rather than over it. That's a minor error that doesn't detract from the scene. It's more of an interesting piece of trivia. Frozen also has other great songs. Love is an Open Door is charming, and Do You Want to Build a Snowman effectively establishes Anna and Elsa as characters and forms the central tension for the film. For the First Time in Forever is often overlooked, but is a delightful insight into the castle, Anna's upbringing, and the kingdom of Arendelle. Frozen also has strong leads. Elsa is the most compelling character in Frozen 2, but Frozen doesn't focus on her as much as her sister. Anna is a great Disney princess. She's funny, relatable, and a little naive. Her willingness to marry a man she just met is whimsical, yet fitting for a girl who has grown up in isolation. Other characters react to Anna's naivety appropriately, which grounds the audience's perception of her. Elsa and Kristoff are understandably against her marriage, as is the audience. Anna and Kristoff are compelling. Their conversations are humorous and often satirize existing Disney tropes, like love at first sight or true love's kiss. Olaf is lovable and funny. His comedic timing is in line with the audience, and it works because the fantasy world of Frozen is absurd. This is completely different to Frozen 2, where he isolates the audience by acting in a way that's not in line with our expectations. Another strength of Frozen is its source material. Disney usually adapts fairy tales or classic literature, so appropriating the Snow Queen is fitting. Despite its strengths, Frozen has its fair share of problems. Hans as a villain comes out of nowhere. This is because of Frozen's production history. In earlier drafts, Elsa was the villain. But Let It Go turned out so well, they rewrote Elsa to be a lead. Disney needed a new villain, so Hans was shoehorned in. His villainy works in theory because it satirizes true love's kiss. But overall, Frozen doesn't develop Hans as a character enough for his treachery to feel earned. Also, Love is an Open Door shows Anna's fascination with Hans, so him being a villain undermines the song. Another character who isn't developed well is Elsa. Elsa isn't given much agency. She isolates herself, then runs away once her powers are discovered. It's mostly Anna who progresses the plot, which is a shame, because Elsa is such a compelling character. Thankfully, Frozen 2 gave her more characterization. Frozen is an endearing, lovable Disney feature, but it does have its weaknesses that prevent it from being Disney's best. In 5th place is Raya and the Last Dragon. Disney's latest release has a lot to love. It's unconventional for Disney, focusing on action and subversion. The action is one of its biggest strengths. The character movement is fluid and easy to follow. Every character has a distinctive fighting style that matches their personality. Raya and the Last Dragon also has strong world building. Most Disney features are in familiar fairy tale worlds or historical landscapes, so Kumandra is distinctive. Every set piece is engaging. The 5 kingdoms are different and vibrant, really enhancing the film's world. Part of what sells us on Kumandra is its characters. All of Raya's characters are compelling with their own tragedies related to the story. The characters play well off each other, and their different personalities help establish what each kingdom is like. The characters are also subversive. Tong has a tough exterior, but is a sweetheart.
Why don't you just hang around? Good one, huh?
Raya is physically beautiful but distrusting. Noi seems like an innocent baby but is a con artist. Each of these presents an interesting insight into the film's message, trusting people despite their appearance. The characters establish that message while also providing compelling twist within the story. Another compelling element of the story is Raya. Raya's character arc is something new for Disney. Her relationship with trust is a complex existential idea, and every decision she makes is fitting for her character. Her journey from a trusting young girl into a no-nonsense warrior is compelling. Learning she had to put aside her doubts and trust people is interesting. Raya is also a competent hero at the very start of the film. Disney has released plenty of coming-of-age tales like Mulan and Hercules, so making Raya a talented warrior from the beginning is a refreshing change of pace. It also complements the action. Making Raya an experienced warrior allows for breathtaking sequences. It also makes the climax more epic by showing her and Namaari's pure rage after losing their loved ones. Unfortunately, Raya and the Last Dragon has its flaws. 2 of them are extensions of the film's biggest successes. Kumandra is an intriguing location, and it's a shame we didn't get to see more of it. Raya needed more character development. Her emotional journey is compelling, but she doesn't stand out with so many side characters. A sequel or TV series would help expand both Kumandra and Raya's arc. It can allow Disney to flesh out each region, and Raya's distrust can be gradually challenged. Another flaw is the Last Dragon. Susie is annoying. Awkwafina's voice acting is out of place. This is apparent because the rest of the cast fit their roles. Raya, Tong, and Boone all emote, but Susie usually doesn't. Susie's decisions are ill-fitting. Susie endangering herself doesn't impact her character like it does for Raya. Raya trusts blindly at the beginning, and it leads to her becoming distrusting. Susie trusts blindly in Talon, but her behavior doesn't change. She doesn't get the sophisticated arc that Raya does. Also, the dragon designs are lackluster. They're not awful, but How to Train Your Dragon was way better, and that was 11 years earlier. Raya and the Last Dragon breaks Disney conventions despite its flaws. In 4th is Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is underrated. It isn't the best Disney release of the decade, but it's heartfelt with lovable characters. The video game references are intriguing and never overbearing. Ralph, Vanellope, Felix, and Calhoun are engaging. Wreck-It Ralph could have used existing characters like Sonic the Hedgehog or Pac-Man more and chose not to. This is commendable because it never feels like product placement. Instead, it's a nostalgia throwback to arcade gaming. Additionally, when well-known characters appear, it's never forced because it's only a fun reference and never a central part of the story. Wreck-It Ralph should also be praised for its world building. Sugar Rush is a vibrant landscape. It's beautiful and helps establish drama. King Candy is an awesome villain. He has a powerful presence and the climax is epic. Ralph and Vanellope have good chemistry, and many of the film's best moments are about their relationship. Ralph teaching Vanellope to race is one of these moments. The scene is played to Rihanna's Shut Up and Drive, which is energetic and catchy. It's the high point of Ralph and Vanellope's arcs as they work towards their goals. Vanellope accepts Ralph for who he is, rather than vilifying him for being a bad guy. Ralph teaches Vanellope to race, helping her with her dream of becoming a racer. Both are outcast, and them building a connection on mutual aspirations is heartwarming. Another captivating scene is when Ralph smashes Vanellope's cart. We've seen their bond grow across the film, so seeing Ralph destroy Vanellope's dream for her own good is heartbreaking. Many animated features use this trope where they make the leads have a falling out right before the climax. A lot of the time it feels forced, but Wreck-It Ralph does it really well. Wreck-It Ralph effectively establishes Ralph and Vanellope's motivation so their conflict feels natural and in line with both characters. Their relationship also leads to some humor. Their banter is witty and charming. Ralph's delivery in this film is a lot more natural than its sequel. Ralph's inexperience in Hero's Duty is funny without becoming slapstick. King Candy's delivery also makes for some funny moments without undermining him as a legitimate threat. Felix and Calhoun are also quite funny. They're well characterized and play off each other in exciting ways. Calhoun's tragic backstory isn't explored much, but it's interesting to see Disney include something so dark. Wreck-It Ralph has many positive elements, but it's slightly held back from first place. For starters, it's unconventional for Disney. This works well in the context of the film, but it's hard to compete with Disney's musicals without adding something new to the genre. To be admired like the Disney Renaissance, you gotta do something better, not necessarily something different. Also, Wreck-It Ralph is more akin to Pixar than Disney. Pixar usually focuses on personal identity, which Wreck-It Ralph heavily focuses on. Pixar gives feelings to non-sentient beings like toys or cars. Wreck-It Ralph gives feelings to video game characters. Wreck-It Ralph is more at home with Pixar's greatest hits than Disney's. It's wonderful, but isn't the best revival era film. In third place is Tangled. Tangled kick-started the revival era. Toy Story in 1995 begun the trend of 3D animation, which became increasingly popular in the 2000s. Without a successful 3D release, Disney fell behind its competition. In 2010, Disney released their first successful 3D film, Tangled. Tangled ventured Disney into 3D animation, but was also returned to formula. The Disney Renaissance is one of the most beloved eras in film history, so Disney decided to imitate existing successes like The Little Mermaid and The Lion King. For example, like a fairy tale setting, captivating villain, and an amazing soundtrack. Tangled features strong vocal performances from both leads and the villain. Its soundtrack isn't credited much because of Frozen's popularity, but it really deserves the praise. When Will My Life Begin provides an insight into Rapunzel's daily life and dissatisfaction with her lack of freedom. It's catchy, upbeat, and a decent character introduction. I've Got a Dream is whimsical and has some beautiful animation and smooth movements. I See the Light is one of Disney's best ballads and a romantic moment for the leads. Rapunzel and Flynn Rider are another huge selling point. They have a strong central relationship. Both play off each other really well, and combined with Zachary Levi's voice acting, make for some great laughs. Their more intimate moments are compelling, and it's exciting to see them grow. Both seek thrills and adventure. Rapunzel because she's been sheltered her whole life, and Flynn because he decided to live the high life after humble beginnings. Their characterization makes for drama, laughs, and antics. Tangled also features one of Disney's best villains. Mother Gothel is sinister, alluring, and manipulative. She's conducted similarly to past Disney villains like Scar, Ursula, and Frollo. She's given her own song, Mother Knows Best, to establish her character motives. She has a personal connection to the protagonist being her adoptive mother. Donna Murphy's voice acting for Gothel is impeccable, encapsulating both seductive and sinister tones. Between its awesome soundtrack, interesting characters, and intriguing villain, Tangled is among Disney's best. It's only ranked third because of minor issues. One is its straightforward narrative, which can be predictable. It's also not as experimental as number 1 and number 2. Tangled is intriguing, humorous, and iconic, second only to Disney at its peak. In second place is Zootopia. Zootopia won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature in 2016. It has a 98% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. All the praise is deserved. At the center of Zootopia is its powerful message and the chemistry between the two leads. Zootopia provides a gripping racial commentary using animal metaphors of predators and prey. Racial commentary is an intense message, so it was risky for Disney. Disney usually has a lighthearted musical tone, so providing profound social commentary could isolate audiences. It also ran the risk of being too controversial, like Disney has been in the past. Zootopia took a risk and it paid off. The divide between prey and predators is portrayed subtly and never in your face. Judy's parents are naturally fearful, so their fear of foxes is consistent with their characters. They give her fox propellant, and Judy shrugs it off, but later brings it with her to work. This subtle motif of the fox repellent helps show the underlying racism in Zootopia and how it developed. It delicately presents how fear can manage our ability to connect with others. Jumbo Jr. refusing to serve Nick because he's a fox is a similar scene. It doesn't seem too important at first, but it shows the different ways in which stigma can hinder someone's well-being. The scene where Nick stands up to Chief Bogo does the same. Chief Bogo distrusts Nick because he's a fox and doesn't believe Nick could be telling the truth. This demonstrates the different types of mistreatment predators face. Nick is stigmatized, refused service, labeled as a liar, and told he can't pursue his dreams. Other predators are wrongfully imprisoned and labeled as savages. Zootopia creates a powerful social commentary that is subtle and natural. What makes this message so well received is Zootopia's characters. The characters are distinctive and vibrant, from Clawhauser's whimsy to Chief Bogo's strictness. Judy and Nick are a great Disney duo. They have strong chemistry that allows for entertaining banter and emotional moments. They're on opposite sides of the racial issue, one being prey, one being a predator. Seeing them bond across the film is moving. They're also outcast. Nick because he's a fox, and Judy because she aspires to be something unconventional, a bunny cop. Then they're divided, and their falling out is thought-provoking and sad. Many animated features separate their leads right before the climax to add dramatic tension. Most of the time it's forced, but here it actually connects to the film's message. Nick has been sidelined for being a fox, so he's devastated when Judy blames predators for Zootopia's problems. Judy was bullied by a fox growing up and had racist parents. She didn't mean to demonize predators, but growing up around racist ideas made her misspeak. It's a tragic moment, and when they reconcile later, it's beautiful. Zootopia has many strengths beyond its message and leads. It's got gorgeous visuals. The rain in the Rainforest District is lifelike and vivid. All the locations are distinctive and interesting. The hair and fur are well animated. The chase between Judy and Duke Weaselton is thrilling and leaves audiences wanting to see more of Zootopia's expansive city. The score is incredible. It's not as iconic as Disney musicals, but the Zootopia theme is exhilarating. Scenes play out naturally, and the music is always fitting. The side characters are lovable. Duke Weaselton, Mayor Lionheart, and Mr. Big are all brought to life from some remarkable voice performances and animation.
You come here unannounced on the day my daughter is to be married.
However, like all the other movies, Zootopia has minor issues. The weak twist villain is the only part of the plot that doesn't flow naturally. Mayor Bellwether is brought to life from solid voice acting, but she isn't really explored enough to be a compelling villain. Some of the meta humor doesn't work, particularly the nudist camp and Shakira jokes. Fortunately, Zootopia's humor is consistently good, so these misses aren't very common. Zootopia can also be referential at times. Zootopia is a modern city to mimic contemporary America, but it can be too on the nose with its references. Animal versions of real-world brands, singers, and Disney films are derivative. Thankfully, these are usually blink and you'll miss it moments, rather than being focused on. These flaws stop Zootopia from being a perfect film, but it definitely deserves praise. Zootopia tells a heartbreaking adult story with compelling characters. In second place is Encanto. Encanto and Zootopia are both incredible, and it was hard to rank one higher than the other, but Encanto takes the cake. Zootopia and Encanto are similar, both are dialogue-heavy with a powerful message. Both were directed by Byron Howard, who also directed Tangled. Howard usually tackles more adult themes in his films. Tangled explores abusive parents, Zootopia is a racial commentary, and Encanto is about perfectionism. At the heart of Encanto is that perfectionism prevents everyone involved from being truly happy. Every character presents a different perspective on perfectionism and the downsides of being gifted. Mirabel is the only one in her family without a gift. She spends the film feeling lesser than her gifted relatives because she can't achieve like they can. Mirabel provides a gripping social commentary about how perfectionism leaves people feeling worthless. The gifted characters expand on this further. Bruno is a fortune teller whose gift isolates him. He's misunderstood and outcast from society. Another downside of being gifted is that it can be hard to form connections when others don't understand you. Bruno's character conveys this concept expertly. The audience initially hears about Bruno from the song We Don't Talk About Bruno, in which his family outlines the stigma around him. Peppa is hesitant to acknowledge his existence, and Camilo likens him to a crazy rat man who brings darkness. Then this stigma is broken when Bruno is introduced. He's shown to be a sad, isolated man who longs to be understood and cared for by his family. Other characters portray negatives of being gifted too. Isabella is effortlessly perfect, so her flaws are overemphasized because of her usually high standard. Luisa is super strong and becomes overworked. Her family doesn't mean to overwork her, but she has to do more because she's the only one who can. Each character has a complex arc that is interwoven with the film's message. Perfectionism prevents happiness. It's a sophisticated message for an animated feature, and it's masterfully executed. Most of Encanto is excellent dialogue between Mirabel and her family members. Each character gradually opens up to her, strengthening bonds within a broken family. As they talk, we learn about each character's struggles and how they respond to the standards imposed on them. Zootopia uses dialogue to form an emotional connection between Judy and Nick. The audience then experiences the world of Zootopia through these two characters. Encanto, on the other hand, uses dialogue to establish a wider cast of characters. The Madrigal family offers a variety of perspectives on the film's message, and the audience views the world of Encanto through that message. Encanto's message is also conveyed through music. Encanto uses musical numbers well. It often uses dialogue rather than music to emphasize key story moments. The music is saved for important character moments, making it purposeful when it does appear. Every song is amazing. The songs were written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who also wrote the music for Moana. While Moana has more bangers and a higher song count, Encanto is among Disney's best soundtracks. The Family Madrigal and We Don't Talk About Bruno are great character introductions and invite the audience into Encanto's world. Waiting on a Miracle, Surface Pressure, and What More Could I Do are all excellent. Each of them is very tonally different and fitting for their character. Each does an amazing job of showing the diverse range of personalities and problems within the Madrigal family. Encanto is also subtle when it conveys its message. Mirabel mimics Isabella and Dolores' movement styles, using her body to indicate that she's trying to fit in with her family. Luisa walks through the village and everyone is always asking her for help. It establishes how overworked Luisa is using only her facial expression and simple dialogue. When Abuela walks through the house, each family member has a unique response as she passes their door. Bruno shrinks down because he feels invisible to her. Isabella looks away because she doesn't believe in Abuela's perfectionistic standards. Luisa stands up straight and tall because she wants to conceal how badly she's struggling on the inside. It's subtleties like this that elevate Encanto above Disney's other recent films. Encanto is a masterful piece of fiction, but it narrowly ranks below Moana. Moana has well-established side characters. Encanto has a bigger cast, so its side characters aren't as well developed. Moana also has better humor because of Dwayne Johnson's performance as Maui. It's also really hard to top How Far I'll Go. Encanto is a glorious achievement for Disney. Its powerful message is well executed, and so is its music. The best Disney release of the decade is definitely Moana. Moana is an excellent animated film in every category. First, there's the soundtrack. Moana has one of the best soundtracks in Disney history. There's no bad track on the album. How Far I'll Go defined 2016. It's catchy, heartfelt, and essential to Moana's character arc. You're Welcome introduces Maui and has a light-hearted Disney vibe that ages well. There You Are, Shiny, and We Know the Way are all bangers and worth adding to your playlist. Tangled made the Disney musical popular again, but it was Moana that perfected it. All revival-era films are based on a strong central relationship. The relationship between Moana and Maui is a treasure. Moana is lawful good, determined to do the right thing, and Maui is a chaotic good, providing for humanity but also serving his own motivations as a demigod. He steals Moana's boat and chicken, throws her into the ocean, and teases her for being chosen by the ocean. Moana and Maui's diverging personalities lead to hijinks. Dwayne Johnson's charisma and self-deprecating humor shapes his role as Maui, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Ali'i Cravalho brings a lot to the role of Moana too. Her intonation is impeccable, and she conveys Moana's growing frustration with Maui really well.
Moana of Motunui.
The vocal performances in Moana are killer. Jermaine Clement brings a manic energy to Tamatoa, who has become a fan favorite. Chief Tui and Grandma Tala are also well-voiced and have their own distinctive personalities. Moana is able to characterize quickly, and many of its side characters are memorable without getting much screen time. Grandma Tala is a troublemaking mentor that is playful early on and inspiring later. The fan theory regarding her death enhances this further. Fans have suggested that guarding the heart of Te Fiti is what kept Grandma Tala alive. She dies shortly after giving it to Moana, which adds new meaning to her departure. The scene where she talks about being reincarnated as a stingray hits differently with this knowledge, and other side characters are just as compelling. Moana's father, Chief Tui, has a simple arc that is effectively executed. In his youth, he longed for the sea, but lost his best friend doing so. This hardened him and motivates him to keep Moana away from the ocean. Moana's mother, Sina, is barely in the film, but we get an understanding of her character. She understands Chief Tui's concerns and wants to ensure her daughter's safety. But when Motunui is under threat, she supports Moana going on her voyage. These character arcs are simple and secondary to the main story, but still compelling and memorable. Another element of Moana worthy of praise is its visuals. The village of Motunui is vibrant, and where you are leaves the audience wanting to see more. Every location is beautiful and intriguing, from Tamatoa's cave to the island of Te Fiti. We can't talk about Moana without mentioning the film's main setting, the ocean. The water animation in Moana is top-notch. The visuals are so vivid, and the scene where Moana parts the ocean is breathtaking. Realistic water is important for an adventure across the seas, so it's great to see Disney nail it. A criticism surrounding Moana is its simple plot, but Moana's plot is what allows its strengths to be so strong. By having a simple plot, the music, characters, and animation do the heavy lifting. The plot isn't ambitious, but it doesn't feel like a fetch quest either. The locations Moana visits are vibrant and interesting enough to justify her going there. The personalities Moana interacts with are distinctive enough that they don't feel forced or like the film is stalling for time. Moana is a masterpiece. Moana wouldn't be what it is without the expertise of John Musker and Ron Clements. Musker and Clements worked on some of Disney's best, including The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Hercules. It's not surprising they were able to create another classic musical based on their past work. Moana is amazing. It's the best revival-era film, and it isn't a stretch to call it peak Disney. Alright guys, that's the list. What do you think of our ranking? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to binge our playlist for more Disney content. Check out the videos we did on other Disney eras, but most importantly, stay wicked.